Welcome, everybody, to the Tarp Skunks annual meeting. This is being broadcast worldwide, so many folks can watch. And I'm delighted with this significant crowd on a cold, wintry morning here in Jamestown, New York. But nevertheless, the hearts run warm as we think and look forward to our fifth anniversary year. There are those who wondered whether we'd have our first anniversary after we suffered our way through a down season, a blank, we just simply had no season, and then there was the pandemic, and then off we went. So here we are, year 5, and I'm absolutely delighted to state that. I'm delighted that everybody's here. I'm delighted with the advanced knowledge I have of the report that's forthcoming and all of the great things that are forthcoming. In order to get us into the right frame of mind, we're going to show a little 1-minute video that was compiled by Dre Guinness, who's right up there. Dre, he is the voice of the Tarp Skunks, but he has other talents extraordinaire, including videographer, and you'll see it now. He's done many things already for us, but I thought we'd set the scene by this sort of quick highlight tape. Ed, if we could share that.
The pitch. Swinging, there's a drive into right field. Boyle looking up, and it is gone! A home run! As there's a line drive deep, way back, and gone! Bobby Stang with a 3-run homer. 2-2. Swinging, there's a line drive down the left field. That's a fair ball. It's going to be extra bases. 2-run scores, and Brady Wright with a double. I don't necessarily know because Sebastianelli had that one beat as the pitch takes a bad hop. Scoring is Juwan, and the Tarp Skunks score 2 in the 9th to beat Auburn 4-3. Walk it off, Austin Matranga.
Thank you, Dre, for setting the tone, and there's several of those like that that Dre put together, and we look forward to the many exciting moments this upcoming year. I want to pause and reflect, because it's often good to know where you came from in order to know where you're going to. For those who remember, in 2018, we were the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League champions. Unheard of, because Amsterdam wins every year. But that one year, and that was the magic of Jamestown, it was led by Anthony Barone. And Anthony Barone is here today, and we're inviting Anthony to come up to talk a little bit about what he's doing in Milwaukee, but to also to underscore the fact, and some of you were there, it was in early 2019 when we weren't sure what was going to happen, as it had been announced that the owners of the team, who were located in Milwaukee, were going to put all of their franchises into the Midwest. And I know not everybody passed Geography 101, but Jamestown, New York is not in the Midwest. So they made it loud and clear that they were going to do something with their franchise, which was probably going to sell it, which in fact was going to leave us without team. That continuation of almost 80 years of baseball, which Russ Dietrich, front row, has been intimate about, was at risk. But due to conversations among the mayor, myself, and the owner, they made an announcement one day, and the person who made that announcement was one Anthony Barone. So, Anthony, if you want to come forward, love to have a chat.
Well, it's really good to see everybody here, and a lot of faces that in my career that I've come across from high school, from Scott Kimberg writing stories in basketball and baseball, and talking about the 2018 season. I see Russ Dietrich down here in the front, and Russ, quick story about that season. We ended up in 2018. I think we were at that point like 38-15 going into the postseason, and we were the 1 seed in the perfect game collegiate baseball league, and so we had home field advantage for the whole playoffs. And I can still remember back then the playoffs were different. We did best of 3 series for 3 rounds, and Russ came on our bus that day as we were getting ready to go up to Geneva, I believe, and said, "Hey, Anthony, we're going to be playing all the playoffs on the road." So it was a bit of a shock, and Babe Ruth World Series sort of trumped us that summer, and Russ is like, "You guys can do it. You guys are gonna be fine." And little did anyone know that summer we were 24-1 at home, and we only lost 1 game all summer at Dietrich Park. And so we were a little bit like, shooken up and not ready, for that. And the guy at that point of the summer, the guys were they were tired, they were ready to get home, and then I had to tell them, "Hey, we're going to be on the road for the whole entirety of the playoffs." So we ended up beating Geneva, then Newark, and then we got to the championship series against Amsterdam, who, like Greg said, they always win it. They had a lineup full of first-round picks, and our team who scrapped our way to the finals, and we had to play the best of 3 at Amsterdam, and we ended up winning Game 3 and partying on the bus ride home, and it was a great experience. But I still remember Russ coming on the bus and telling us, "Hey, you guys can do it. You had a great season," and that was sort of the end for me in Jamestown, but sort of the beginning, like Greg said, of my next venture and how it prepared me to be in Milwaukee. And my family's here, my wife and 2 of my kids. And, I tell people Jamestown means a lot to me. Grew up here, went to Jamestown High School, 97 graduate. And the community, means more than anything. And that's still a reason I live half the year out in Milwaukee and half the year here in Jamestown. But very easily could move out to Milwaukee with my family and have my career out there, but I choose to be here and spend my off season in Jamestown. I believe it's really important for my kids to grow up and see where I sort of came up through, and having the support from my family doing what I do is it's a blessing. But just like I said, to have this team here, I remember back in the winter of 2014 when. The summer of 2014, the Jammers moved to, I believe, Morgantown, West Virginia. And I was out of baseball, actually, for about a year. And I was down in the Falconer Plaza there near Tim Hortons when Mayor Teresi saw me at one of the Phil and Cindy's restaurant. And he had said, "Hey, you have any interest in getting back in baseball? There's new ownership now with the summer collegiate team." And I said, "Yeah, it always still is something it's my passion, And so anyway, I went out to Milwaukee for an interview back in, I believe it was December 2014, and met with Mike Zimmerman and Dan Kinsey. And that was sort of the beginning of collegiate summer baseball here in Jamestown. We were in the Prospect League back in 2015, where we were taking bus rides to West Virginia, out to Illinois. It was a 72-game schedule, and it was a grueling summer collegiate league. And then we made the decision after that, let's join the PGCBL. Financially, it was better, and it was easier for our players too. It was tough to recruit players, letting them know we had 13-hour bus rides and playing a 72-game schedule. So it was good timing, and being the PGCBL is great. As far as, New York State, all the old Penn League teams that a lot of us grew up watching in the cities, and Elmira and Oneonta and all those teams. So it was such a great experience, and I'm so grateful that, Mike Zimmerman was able to donate the franchise to good people that really care about the future of baseball in the city. I try to tell people where I'm at right now. I don't think it's the biggest city, Jamestown. It's not, I don't think, doesn't have the most money. It doesn't have a lot of glamour, but I always tell people that growing up here and playing sports here, and it gave me a lot of, confidence in myself, because the diversity and the tough competition growing up, and nothing was ever given to us in Jamestown. So it was something where a lot of pride, and I'm so glad to see that the right people are taking over the franchise. And 5 years has gone by really quick. I can still remember the COVID years and doing all, I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I'm sure a lot of you guys had no idea what was going on with the franchise. So it's in good hands, and I always try to check in and make sure, everyone's doing well. And I'm here today too for another reason. Maybe you guys will find out a little later during the meeting, but a very important person, part of my coaching career, and is going to be a bigger part of this, and hoping, just keeps growing and getting bigger. So a lot to be thankful for, and just keep going. I know, like, being in professional baseball is a little bit different. It's a longer schedule. It's guys are getting paid, but this is really the roots of where a lot of players make their way. So it's really important the community gets involved and supports their players that are representing Jamestown. But I still feel proud I was just going with my kids this morning. I was thinking about wearing my Jammers championship ring today. I'm like, that's a little too much pressure possibly for, maybe the next guys. So I was thinking about it because it meant a lot to me. It was, the group of guys that we beat that summer in 2018 was, there's 3 or 4 big leaguers now from that Amsterdam team. And, the guy that closed out that series for us, Ryan Boyer, was a Division III guy from Pitt Bradford, and now he's in AAA with the Toronto Blue Jays. So just to see the growth of those players and the importance, this can be for a lot of guys' career, and just keep going. And it's never easy, right? I mean, it's the way sports, it is. So just, I try to tell my kids the same thing. There's going to be ups and downs, but you just got to keep going. And with a franchise, just keep this thing going, because it's important for the community. So thank you guys for coming out today.
So Anthony announced in early 2019 that there would be a team, but what's a team without a name? And shortly thereafter, the board met, and through kind of a long, and I will not try to repeat it, process, we became what many of you are wearing today in some form or fashion, the Tarp Skunks. Shortly thereafter, we had a gathering where my son, Brent Peterson, he's a singer-songwriter, was having an event at Shaw Bucks, and a guy named Ken Harley, who was extraordinary, musician, promoter, singer-songwriter, came to that event, and typical Greg Peterson fashion, talking to George Carlo. Ken came, and he didn't know. I said, George meet Ken meet George. And I said, Ken, one of the nice things we simply don't have a theme song. I mean, how could you have a team without a theme song? I never heard of that, but I just made it up. Well, Ken took it seriously. And I see Jason Sample here, and Jason Sample, head of WRFA at the time, and did the broadcast. He adopted that as its theme song. And so to this day, you'll hear the Tarp Skunks theme song. And we actually had some events. We promoted it at WJT and other places. It went well, very, very well. Ken made the further mistake of saying, gee, I kind of like that, and wondered if I might you have an idea regarding something else. And there was a song, a major league song called Van Lingo Mungo, where the whole song is nothing but names, Major League Baseball names. No verbs, no adjectives, nothing. It's all, and it's a very popular. So I sent it to Ken, and he came up with something you're going to watch now.
1890s baseball came to Jamestown. The teams were named the Jamestowns, the Celerons, the Celeron Acmes, and the Giants. The Rabbits, the Spiders, the Jaguars, the Falcons, and the Tigers. The Dodgers and the Braves and the Falcons again. The Expos and the Jammers and the Tarp Skunks. Each team had its share of fine players. Some made it to the big time. Some made it to the major leagues. Starting pitchers, Dennis Blair, Bob Shaw, and Pat Dobson. All-star Frank Larry was known as the Yankee Killer. Salva Barber Magley would give you a close shave with a plate. Jim Rucker became an announcer for ESPN. In 1908, Hill Petty had struck out 42 batters in a 23-inning game. Out of the bullpen, Randy St. Clair, Duke Miles, and Jim Wright, Jeff Weaver, and Tony Pena, named after his dad. Feel the heart ringing at his baffling knucklebone. Francisco Tordera with his fastball in the mid-90s. John Miller had a heart attack and later won 17 games in relief, a record that stands to this day. Outfielders Marquis Grissom, Gary Renicky, Bubba Trammell, Andre Stories, Don Clendenin, and Andre the Big Cat Galarraga. Harvey's Wall Bangers, Ben Ogilvy, and Cecil Cooper. Dwight Evans, Red Sox right fielder with a gun for an arm. The Rookie of the Year and a Most Valuable Player. Jackie Chanson. Then there's the infield line of the Shields and Will Cordero, Julian Javier of the world champion Cardinals. Gold Glover Frank Bowling had a street named after him. Larry Parrish hit 3 grand slams in 1 week. And the Mad Maxim magazine say it had the most baddest name in history. Razor shines. Behind the plate, Don Warder and Brandon Hinch. Ed Sadowski and Gary Carter in town for a 2-week tryout. Coaches Charlie Lau, Walt Reniak, and QV Lowe. Then there were managers Dave Roberts and Jim Leland. And descending to the pinnacle were Hall of Famers Nellie
I do have to say, by the way, Greg did the visual for this set. What would you call it? We'll send it to MTV. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Ken Harley. Okay, now we've got a team. We have a name. We have an anthem. We have documented the history of it all. That's past tense. And we've had now 4 good years under our belt. And we're so thrilled. We're looking forward to the 5th anniversary. And now I'd like to call up our general manager, the guy who's really infused an amazing amount of energy, Christian Dost, to kind of give us a state of the state.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to see you all here today. Thank you for all coming. And over the next few minutes, I just want to discuss some of the success that we had over the 2024 season and some of it that stems from the last few years. But first, I want to say thank you to all of our investors, our board members, sponsors, season ticket holders, and fans. We're truly so lucky and grateful to have your support. And I know that really none of this is possible without your help. We're all one big team, and you guys are the foundation of what we do. I also want to thank our interns and staff that we had this past season. We had a record 17 interns who were helping us out in the front office on a daily basis, as well as then 10 plus staff members in our press box every game day to make sure that everything was running smoothly. So they're a huge part of our daily operation, and they're certainly the backbone of kind of our success on an overall game day operation sense. Lastly, I do want to thank the city of Jamestown, our amazing city workers who do an exceptional job of keeping our locker rooms, the facilities, and our field the best in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. So thank you to that amazing group of people. Taking a quick snapshot of kind of what our 2024 season looked like. We had another amazing and successful season from the business side of our operations. We increased our season ticket sales and overall ticket sales by 7% from 2023. We also increased sponsorship 35% just from last season, and overall 105% from 2021, which is our first season. So we've done a tremendous job of getting out into the community and having that support from the businesses in our local area. And they're certainly the driving force behind the success of our past season that we had. Attendance also remained strong over the last season. We were able to continue to hold and build on our great average that we had over the last 2 seasons, and we increased our attendance by 7% to average 903 fans a game, which is tremendous. And we inherited a team that was very successful, obviously, in their last year here, but to continually grow, especially as a new brand and coming out of the pandemic, has been certainly very encouraging. I think one of the best things that we've done as an organization is that we've really specialized in building, engaging and fun nights, whether that's our opening night celebration to our kids' day. We had a first responders night, Bark at the Park, our famous $2 nights, and many other special nights in between. We're very excited to see how receptive the community has been, and are looking forward to having Tarp Skunks games that are entertaining, affordable, and fun for families in our area. So we can take a quick look of a visual of kind of how tickets, sponsorships, concessions, and total revenue have increased over the last 4 years. So I, obviously owe a huge thank you. I've only been here the last 2 years kind of running the operation, but this has been a community effort since the beginning. So we're continuing to grow, and that's the goal. From a concession standpoint, going hand in hand with our great attendance numbers is the amount of different groups that we had join us at the park this year for picnics or just group events. We had 25 different groups coming to our stadium this year, which kind of results as to one group a night. And we had a 52% increase in concession revenue from 2023. So we owe a huge thank you to 3C's Catering, specifically Robert and Karen Cross, who do an amazing job making sure that they provide good food and quality for our fans. One of the biggest goals over our last 2 seasons, and since I was here 2 years ago, being introduced as the general manager, was to really enhance our community presence and create a fun atmosphere for our fans. That was the main goal, is create a fun atmosphere, and I think we've certainly accomplished that over the last 2 years. Starting with our school kids game, we had 2,754 students join us from a number of different schools, our Jamestown Public Schools, Faulkner, Randolph, Sherman, Westfield. We had Panama, Pine Valley, both those schools there at our park this year as well. And what's really unique is that we were able to make all of the tickets free, thanks to the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation for their support, and they covered the cost of the tickets for all the students, teachers, and staff. So we're looking to do that again next year and really pack the stadium once again. We also had 2 firework nights that were both producing 2 stadium-packed nights with over 1,300 people in each game, and those were sponsored by Jamestown Mattress and Collaborative Children's Solutions and Culture Care. So their dedication is something that we truly appreciate, and I know that the fans always enjoy them as well. And actually, our second firework night, which was sponsored by Collaborative Children's Solutions and Culture Care, was a record-breaking night. We had the most attendance we've ever had, with 2,217 fans at the game. So that was a new record for us. That's actually a picture from the night. As you can see, the grandstand was absolutely packed. The energy was through the roof, and it was something that we're very thankful for their support. One of the most special nights that we had was our Strikeout Cancer Night. This was the second year that we did this, where we raffled off 44 pink Tarp Skunks jerseys, and we were able to raise $4,500 for the Italian-American Charity Golf Association, and that money that they receive goes to UPMC Hospital here in Jamestown, as well as local hospice care. So we're really excited that, our first year we raised $2,000, and then this year we were able to bump that up to $4,500. And I know next year we're going to continue to raise money and keep it going. We also had a number of different Little League teams come and join us before games for our pregame catch. This is something where players get to come to the field before the game. They get to play catch with our Tarp Skunks players and get some autographs. So this was another really great experience for our young baseball players here in Chautauqua County. And you can see by just looking at the photo, these kids were super happy to come out here. And this is something that it's a part of what we have, a new fund called the Whiffy Fund, which we're going to touch on a little bit later in this program. But the Whiffy Fund is going to be extremely important to our success and what we do moving forward in 2025. To be able to offer this opportunity to have kids come out in the field and enjoy Tarp Skunks baseball. And lastly, we had our Tarp Skunks Kids Camp, which was a massive success. As you can see Levi up here, he's real excited because he sees himself in the top photo. But it was a huge success. We had 121 campers join us. Each camper received one-on-one instruction. They got a lunch. They got to meet with the players after, get autographs. This was something that we put together this year, and it was a great experience for our kids. So I want to thank Univera Healthcare and Prevention Works and Casa Trinity for their support of our kids camp. Looking forward to 2025, there's a lot to look forward to. We ended the season on a very high note with our record-breaking attendance night. The energy was high. So I know people in our community are really, really excited about what's to come for our season. But first and foremost, we have merchandise. We have new merchandise that's going to be coming out for next season. Also, merchandise is a great Christmas present. So if you'd like to get your special someone something Tarp Skunks related, you can scan the QR code. It'll take you right to our merchandise. From a communication standpoint, we introduced Vazi last year, and that's a text-based communication platform that provides updates on all things Tarp Skunks related. So if you would like to join that, you can text JOIN to 716-705-5600, and we'll get you listed, and that way you don't miss a single thing about Tarp Skunks baseball. We also are going to be introducing a brand new website, which will be coming out early next year. To make sure that we get information to our fans as accessible as possible, and it's a little bit more clean and concise. And most of all, we still have our same exciting Tarp Skunks baseball, which is exactly what we want. We have a really exciting year on our plate coming up. It's our 5th year of baseball here as the Tarp Skunks organization, and I know that I'm determined, our entire board of directors is determined to create a really great experience for our fans that's competitive and exciting baseball. I know that more than ever, I think we're committed to we've kind of got the experience part of it down, but we're really committed to winning and bringing a championship back here to Jamestown. You'll meet our new manager later. He's a great person to lead us and lead our group of young men forward. And I'm really excited and more confident than ever that we're going to provide not only a fun experience, but we're going to provide some really great baseball as well. On your way out, if you'd like, we have season tickets available. I'm not sure if our square machine is up and running yet. It's causing a little trouble this morning, but there are season ticket forms which you can take, fill out, and mail back to us. And we would love to see you at the park in 2025. So thank you.
And if I could give this Oscar to Christian, I would, but I can't, so I won't. However, if you did notice that one of the pictures there, that huge crowd of 2,200 people, the person that was in the foreground was this guy, Durwood Swanson. And Durwood Swanson this year, together with our leader, founder, CEO of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, Russ Dietrich, both turned 90 this year. So no better than that. So I want to shout out to both of them. So the reason you're here, we said, meet the manager. Meet the manager. I'm anxious to find out who it is. Golly. Anthony Barone, he kind of had the look, but he wouldn't tip it, man. He was unbelievable. So I thought there's only 3 guys in the entire facility which have beards. And one of them's Anthony Barone, one is Dr. George Carlo, and the third one will be coming up soon. So Dr. George Carlo, do you want to introduce the other guy with the beard?
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. And welcome, friends. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the next step that we're taking toward a championship, another championship in the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. And that is going to be under the guidance of our new manager. Now, best said, our new manager is a baseball guy. He's a baseball guy. Now, he was a wonderful player when he was younger, of course. He began his, he was from Dunkirk, but he actually played in the Babe Ruth League World Series at Dietrich Park. He began his coaching career as an assistant at Jamestown Community College with Anthony Barone, who is a real treasure to Chautauqua County, I must say, Anthony. And he was at JCC, and my son, actually, we were living in Florida at the time, came and played for our new manager and Anthony Barone at JCC. And he then went to Canisius University, and at Canisius he was a pitching coach and did other various things. But he also earned a master's degree in sports management, so that not only on the field is he sophisticated and advanced, but also off the field. From Canisius University, he was able to go to Wingate University, had some experience there. Patrick Henry Community College, where he had great success as a manager there in Virginia. From Patrick Henry, he went to USA Baseball. USA Baseball is the largest amateur program in the United States. This is a big deal. And he had success there. From USA Baseball, he went to the Minnesota Twins as a rehab instructor. And since then, he has been affiliated with the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, that type of resume for a young guy is very unusual. It's very unusual, and it portends success for us. And he's coming back home to manage the Tarp Skunks. That's awesome. And coming back home is a big thing, and it's important to him. Now, with his knowledge of baseball and bringing it back to Jamestown, bringing these things back, the baseball landscape is changing, especially in the college game. There's a thing called NIL, name, image, and likeness, where players in college can be paid. And the development of players is changing. It's no longer that a player will be in college for 4 years and develop and then hope to get drafted. There's something called the transfer portal, where good players can play 1 year, go into the transfer portal and, transfer to another school. And it really has created upheaval in the whole player development world. Now, our new manager understands this. He's been involved in scouting, he's been involved in player development, and he understands where this is going. His plans are to make the Tarp Skunks designed as a professional organization so that players who come here can see what it's going to be like at the next level. This is very important, and it's where the future of college baseball is going. So, my friends, it is my honor to introduce you to the new manager of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, Frank Jagoda III.
Well, thank you, George, for the nice introduction. And thank you to everybody here today. I'll get the thank yous out of the way first. First and foremost, thank you to the board of directors. About 12 months ago, they brought me on to serve alongside them on the board. With my schedule, I was traveling a lot, in and out of Jamestown, gone, well over 100 nights a year, doing various things throughout professional baseball with the Tampa Bay Rays. And I always was looking for opportunities to give back and get back to the area. And as you know, there's not many colleges in the immediate area, so opportunities are somewhat limited to do so. A big thanks to the board for bringing me back and allowing me to be part of the group. Also need to give a couple other thanks. First and foremost to Anthony Barone. He spoke, he kind of mentioned it. George touched on it. I've known Anthony for over 20 years. I played at Dunkirk High School, and I was that gung-ho player in high school who was just, Division I. And, if it's not Division I, it's not for me. And that was just such a wrong approach at the time. And Anthony was gracious enough after I transferred back from University at Buffalo, where I did play, to give me a chance to kind of restart my career. It also afforded me the opportunity to eventually meet my wife, who I'll talk about in a minute here. And so from Jamestown Community College, went with a couple other Jayhawks to Gannon University to finish my career, and then started back up here, as George mentioned, working for Anthony, who gave me my first coaching job. That was 16 years ago now. So I've been at this a long time, and very fortunate, again, to the board and Anthony for bringing me back. But special thanks to my wife, who has really put up with the hustle and bustle and the travel over the last 16 years, especially over the last 8 on the professional side. I think there was a stretch where we moved 7 times in 10 years. Quite a bit of travel, quite a bit of gone. I've missed, a lot of, weddings, funerals, birthdays, a lot of special things. And 4 years ago, when we moved home back to this area, I knew it was for good, and it was always for the better. And now, fortunate for Tara and I, we have our 9-month-old son, Grayson, up there. So if you hear someone kind of laughing and hanging out, or maybe even crying, we'll see. We wouldn't be here with him if it wasn't for the decision to move home 4 years ago. So very thankful for that. But yeah, like I said, I've been on the board for just over a year now. And as things evolved, it became clear that, managing was a real possibility for me. And it's something I wanted to explore. Had conversations with different board members and kind of thought it over with my wife and other people in the game, and just kind of wanted to see a few things, and really wanted to find a way to give back even more to this area. And as a group, we decided that it was the right time for this to happen. It's a full circle moment for me. As George mentioned, I grew up in Dunkirk, 05 graduate. I played in the 2003 16-year-old Babe Ruth World Series with numerous guys from Jamestown and, guys from all over the county. And I see Scott Kimbrig here. I've known him quite a while as well, and he's covered a lot of my high school sports and a lot of my wife's high school sports, who was a rock star soccer player. And so this is a full circle moment, Having traveled the world and the country over the past 16 years as a college coach, a director, scout, and coach with USA Baseball, and a professional scout and coach with the Twins and the Tampa Bay Rays, having the opportunity to manage back home is something very special. I've played numerous games at Dietrich Park. I've coached numerous games at Dietrich Park, and I wouldn't have it any other way, and really excited to get going. So as we go, obviously sitting here today, middle of December, we're in the middle of building the roster. And where does that sit? As the roster evolves, we're in a good spot at this point in the process. We're roughly around 33 commitments for the summer, and we're pushing towards the roster limit of 40. The Perfect Game League allows a 40-man roster. If all 40 guys show up, I'm in deep trouble, so we'll see how that goes. But I guess that would be a good problem to have, a welcomed problem, I guess you could say. We're really looking forward to getting this group in. We're currently represented by kids from 8 different states and 21 different colleges throughout the country. So we're really excited, and we also have players from various different levels. So you have the Division I level, we'll have representation from that level, the Division II level, the Division III level, and the junior college level, as well as the high school level. So high school seniors who are committed to continue on their education and their career moving forward. The biggest thing, Anthony touched on a lot of stories and a lot of things, and there were some cool videos, and George mentioned some things. The biggest thing about the baseball in this area is that it's very passionate, right? And that's one thing that I hope that we can message in our clubhouse. We do plan to run this thing like a professional organization to the best of our capabilities. Obviously, there's going to be things on a daily basis that, that are out of our control, but, really looking forward to, providing a product for fans and for our investors and for the board that is, a representation of our community, hard-nosed, blue-collar folks in this area that really, really love their baseball. The one thing that I talk about a lot when talking to our players or prospective players is we're involved in the community at a high level. We do a lot of community service events, which I think is important, and we're out there. We're out there in the community in many different ways. I've been fortunate enough. My mother-in-law works at the Lutheran home. She runs the cafe there, and we've done an event there the last 2 years. And I've gone to those events the last 2 summers and have seen, kind of the look on the people's faces when, the Tarp Skunks come in, and it's really a cool moment. And so I share with the players, it's not just about baseball, it's about your personal development and your on and off field development. Obviously our goal is to win a Perfect Game summer championship, but I think a really cool moment would be, developing these players and in, 2 or 3 years, watching them get drafted, and then maybe 4 or 5, 6 years down the road, watching some of them play in the big leagues. That's our goal. And I truly feel if you give the players, especially in today's age, as we know, it's a different era of kid these days. And so I could say that now. George, you said young man. I don't know. I'm closer to 40 than I am 20. So, I think when you give players the autonomy to have some investment in their career and have some say in their development, it goes a long way. Anthony kind of spoke on the difference between college summer baseball and professional baseball, and I couldn't agree more. Having spent the last 8 years in professional baseball, you're dealing with someone's livelihood when you do that. A lot of players, have wives and kids, and it's their livelihood, and so you call them into the office, and sometimes you have to say, hey, the organization's made a decision to go ahead and release you, and you're kind of crushing their hopes and their dreams, and you're really impacting someone's livelihood and their family. And so those are some of the differences, but there's also some parallels, right? It's a 44-game schedule in a very short period of time. There is bus trips, there's day games after night games. You know, we're going to structure the day, as George mentioned, you know, we're going to structure the day that is going to look like a day-to-day pro schedule. So we're really excited about that and some of the things we're going to bring to the table. You know, another thing about our roster, and I'll wrap this up here soon because I know you guys don't want to hear me talk too long because I could go on all day, but we're proud to have a sizable number of local products, local players that are going to be playing with us this summer. Jameson Walsh from Southwestern High School, who's a freshman at University of Albany. Chase Haglin, who is from Frewsburg High School, who is a Division I college commit to University of Marist. We'll have a few players from Gowanda who will be with us this summer as well. And that's just to name a few. We'll have some players from Warren, players from Erie, Pennsylvania, so local to us, you know, and so there's going to be a lot of opportunities to get to know players not only from around the country, but that are right here in our backyard, which I think is really cool. But one of our local players is sitting here today. It's Faulkner native Branson Lindquist. Branson attends St. Mary High School in Lancaster and has signed his national letter of intent to continue his education, most importantly, right, Dad? Education. And athletic career at University of Toledo in the Mid-American Conference. Branson, growing up in Faulkner, has been a staple on Babe Ruth World Series teams, playing in the 2021 13U Babe Ruth World Series, as well as the 2023 13 and 15-year-old Babe Ruth World Series at Dietrich Park. We're excited for Branson to be with us, as we are all of our players, this summer, and I think it's a really cool opportunity for a kid like Branson, who grew up in this area, who has played at Dietrich Park, like myself, like Anthony, like many of the others in this area, but to come back and do it in a different level, right? This is not just a pickup game, you know, Babe Ruth game that, you know, just hopefully you have enough guys and you don't have to put a pitcher in right field, right? This is real college baseball, as Christian mentioned, over, you know, 900 fans a game at every game and up to 2,200 fans on some nights. I could tell you this right now, and I think Anthony could attest to this, George as well, traveling the country on the professional side. I've been to some pretty miserable, small minor league towns where there's 40 fans and it is horrendous. So the fact that we're able to put a product like that out is a testament to Christian's hard work, the board and our investors and their hard work, and we're grateful. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for Branson and all of our other local players and our players throughout the country to come in here and compete. You know, we do have goals. We have a goal to win a championship here. But my personal goal is to help develop these players as humans and young men that are going to grow and eventually be, you know, parts of our society. So that's our first goal, and I think when you give them the autonomy to do so, good things happen on the field. So, but enough from me. You know, you guys are here to meet Branson, and without further ado, Branson Lindquist.
Hi guys, I just want to say thank you for being here. Like Coach Jagoda said, I grew up in Faulkner, been around Dietrich Park my whole life, going to the Jammers games, going to the Tarp Skunks games. I played in both of the Babe Ruth World Series, the last two. And I can't even begin to say how grateful I am for this opportunity to be able to play and come back and be one of the players that I looked up to as a kid. So I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who puts effort into this program and makes it to what it is today. So, thank you guys.
And if you did not get one of these, be sure you do. This is his rookie card, incredibly valuable at this point. And if he leaves, he's got to go work out soon, so feel free to leave whenever you have to go. Lockport, I think, is it? Lockport? Or Lockhaven? So that's it. Anyways, pick up the card. It's right over there, if you will. So now we have a manager. We also have to have an opportunity to broadcast the good news. The good news. And thank you, by the way, thank you, Branson. And take a few of those cards with you. Pass them out. We have to broadcast the good news of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. From the beginning, we've been blessed by having a volunteer crew and the relationship with WRFA. Jason Sample is here. And for the first 4 years, Jason made sure we had that broadcast. And we have Dre Guinness, who made sure last year it became a reality. And that's the audio aspect of it all. And then, of course, Ed Tomasini, who's sitting right over there broadcasting this thing, is the video. So you could watch it on YouTube, and virtually 1,000 people would watch it at a time. But we got brand new good news for next year. And I want to call up Pat Smeraldo to share it. Pat Smeraldo is the founder, a CEO, the major guru of Children's Collaborative Solution. Pat Smeraldo.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Am I the last one with a beard, by the way? Am I the other guy with a beard? Thank you, everyone, for having us today. Just for a quick announcement and just some good news. So as Greg mentioned, we do have a company, myself, my wife, my 2 boys, and my partner, Jim McElrath. It's called Collaborative Children's Solutions. We were launched in 2021. Basically to run and assist with some events in the city of Jamestown. We just got off the Christmas parade of last week and turned the river green, some other things. We've also provided some opportunities with kids, for kids. The reason we did this, and that we came together on this, I've had a long-standing relationship with the Resource Center as a consultant and working with 45 different agencies in Western New York, and I'm a big fan of collaboration because I don't think we can do it alone in our part of the state anymore. And my main goal of this is, and I won't say my age, but I can tell you that I taught Anthony Barone and Christian Dulce. Christian Dulce is a 5th grader, I believe, so that'll give you a hint as to how old I am. But my goal is to offer opportunities to children here in Chautauqua County and to keep them here and keep what we can of Chautauqua County as we change into whatever we become and new. And the kids, I've had the opportunity to learn a bunch from children, which is phenomenal. One of the things we did back, I believe it was in May of 21, when we assisted with the kids game, and then Jacob Kimberg, who was the general manager at the time, and we helped get some tickets out and things like that. And I was teaching at Bush School one day, and I was talking to a student a couple days before the game, and I got to be honest with you, I was out of it. I didn't understand what he was talking about, but he spoke about he was excited about going to a game. He was going to go to a game, and that's great. Are you playing in it? Is it a Babe Ruth game? No, I'm going to a stadium to watch a game. Are you going to Cleveland? Where are you going? And he was excited because he was going to Dietrich Park. Excuse me. See Mr. Dietrich standing here. He didn't know what that was. He'd never been there. He'd never been to Dietrich Park. And I remember going home that night in amazement that he'd never been to Dietrich Park. It's a stadium. Everybody goes to Dietrich Park. Why aren't you there? Why didn't you go? And he was so excited. So at that point, that was an opportunity that we created. And we started doing the Christmas in July game and things like that. From all of that, in December of 23, we had the opportunity I have a friend, Justin Gould, former owner of Western New York News Now, a big supporter of mine, who had this great television station. He retired, sold his station, went to work for the county, and he said, I think there's an opportunity here for children to start a TV station / program because we have events that we can do. And kids nowadays, and I still do teach, they don't like to read books so much and things like that anymore. And Justin expressed to me about his struggle when he was a child and all the things that he did. He broadcast a parade from 10 years old on his own and things like that. But we started CCS TV, and Justin Gould and Danny and all these kids are absolute geniuses. We started with the Maple Grove broadcast club and team up there, morphed into Jamestown, and we were able to broadcast a parade in 23. We've done a bunch of other things, and we did the Christmas in July game, which is a very, very important night to us in the city. We were able last year in 2024, last season, to collaborate with Culture Care Senior Living and that, because of Zach Natition and his hard work from Culture Care, they broke the attendance record. Those are the type of things we do. We do have a television station down on 2nd Street, and we've been able to broadcast many things, and we're very, 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 very excited to broadcast and announce that we're going to broadcast the entire season of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks this year. And it's an opportunity for approximately 30 kids in Chautauqua County to spend the summer at Dietrich Park, which that's a very, very important thing to me, in a safe environment, and to do what they do is best. Kids have a funny way of doing something. I know Branson just left. Technology to me is Facebook, where they look at that and they think I'm 100, right? They just like, what are you looking at? What are you talking about? But the kids, the productions that these kids do and the things that they do, when we did the 2024 game, I see Jason's here, we were able to put a 6th grade student, a young lady named Miss Enquist, I'll call her, in a booth with Jason, who is an absolute professional. And she was able to be mentored in Chautauqua County at Dietrich Park in front of 2,200 people while an incredible baseball game went on. If that's not an opportunity, I don't know what is. So we're very proud. I was contacted by Greg and Randy Anderson. I will also announce today that Collaborative Children's Solutions is not only very proud to be partnering with the Tarp Skunks, we're very proud to be partnering with the Chautauqua County Hall of Fame and Randy. And after January 1st, we will begin a capital campaign to support this project and these 30 kids. But with the Chautauqua County Hall of Fame, who is a major supporter of the Tarp Skunks, it's a chance to open the kids' eyes to the jewel that sits on 3rd Street, and to also be able to broadcast their dinner, and to be able to interview and mingle with the incoming class of 2025. That is so, so important. We've been able to have some fortunate things. I do a project with a gentleman named Chris Herron, who he was set back by the kids. Harrison Phillips, the Minnesota Vikings we work with, he was set back by the kids. But to be able to sit and watch Lewis Black be interviewed by a 6th grader, and then asked, what do you like, blue cheese or ranch with your wings, and have that mogul of a performer sit back on his bottom and go, I don't know what this kid's talking about. And I'm like, yeah, it's great, because they get. So we're really excited to bring the crew and announce our partnerships with the 2 organizations, and to be able to provide more opportunities to a bunch of kids this summer. So thank you. Appreciate you very much.
This is going to be big, and kudos to Randy Anderson for really stepping forward. Pat Cimarollo with an energy like no other whatsoever. And it's a time to pause, because it really is the guy who got us to this point to even have a product that we could share with so many people, and that in fact Pat would find of interest to spend and invest his time, energy, and his children is really Ed Tomasini. So Ed, if you would step forward, we have a little presentation for you. Likewise, if I could give him this Oscar, I would, but I can't, so I won't. So come on up, Ed. Sort of in recognition.
Actually, that's already my word.
Huh?
That is my word.
That is your word. Okay. You take it with you. Anyway, just a thank you from the Tarp Skunks, and you can wear this as you go to the ballpark, and because it never gets cold.
Yes.
That never ever gets cold. But Ed Tomasini, who really has made this all a reality. And another announcement goes kind of hand in glove, is the fact that we've been working with, Jason had created this with WRFA, and that relationship will continue. Working with Julia Cecila Hanley and the crew at WRFA, starting April, the first week in April, and running weekly thereafter. There'll be a half-hour long podcast with the led by Dre Guinness. And Dre, if you want to come forward and talk a little bit about what's going to happen, but this is all brand new too, and I'm excited. So when you talk about leading up to the season and what's going to happen, talking about all things, I think we're going to call it Tarp Skunk Talk, or something that Dre will come up with, which is catchy. But Dre is our executive producer. Dre? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. For me, I just want to, because I haven't really had a chance to talk to the fan base. Last year for me was probably the greatest year in my broadcasting career because of the ownership, because of Christian, because of the team, because of the fans, the energy in the ballpark. One of the things that I've always been in my broadcast career is a storyteller. And I find that I can tell the better stories when I am following a team from start to finish, from beginning of the season to the end of the season. And at the end of last season, it wasn't the end of the story, it was just the end of the chapter. So going into this 5th anniversary, I'm very excited to bring Tarp Skunks baseball back to you for my 2nd year. And to that end, on WRFA, I am putting together a format right now where I will be doing a podcast from my home studio to send to WRFA that's going to include promotional updates, player updates, whether there's injuries, players moving back and forth, interviews with the coaching staff, interviews with Christian, interviews with anyone associated with the Tarp Skunks, because I feel that the only way forward to bump that average number from 900 a game to 1,000 a game is to get the word out as much as humanly possible. So I've tasked Christian, I've tasked Greg, whatever they need from me, ask, I will do. They asked me to do this, and Greg didn't even have to get the question out before I said, I'm in. So I'm excited for April. I am going to try to figure out a way to get fan interaction on that podcast. So if there's something going on with the team that you have questions about, if you have questions for certain players, certain coaches, whatever, I will set up an email address to give you a conduit to ask those questions, and I will do my best to get those questions answered for you. But I'm excited. My 2nd year, 5th year of Tarp Skunks baseball, and I have a feeling that this is going to be the best one yet.
We're going to wrap up, but we got to know that part of the incentives for the investor group, part of the incentives for the board is the continuation of what is nigh on to 80s, almost consecutive years of baseball. And then it goes back to the 1883, I think the earliest we found. But the repository for all that as the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame and the energy behind all of that and talking about taking it to another level and then some is Randy Anderson, who's been on the board. He was one of the inaugural board members. And frankly, for those who we whip back the curtain, it's Randy Anderson who really gives us a tremendous amount of guidance that is in lockstep with Russ Dietrich. And so I'm going to call Randy forward to sort of wrap this up and also talk about kind of initiatives that he's in the middle of. So Randy Anderson.
This is great. I know every person in this audience. That's what it's all about, is collaboration. My good friend Pat Smeraldo and I, gosh, we've known each other for, well, a long time. Collaboration is what the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame is all about. We love to work with community groups. We're excited about the opportunity to work with Children's Collaborative Services. But today I want to talk about the collaboration that we had last year with the Whiffy Fund. Whiffy, of course, is our mascot of the Tarp Skunks. Big fan of Whiffy, everything he does at the ballpark, he's good with the kids. The Whiffy Fund was the idea of Greg. So he's going to take all the credit, but he won't take the credit. The Whiffy Fund is a collaborative effort between the Tarp Skunks Christian, Chautauqua Region Community Foundation, the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, and people like you who want to continue to provide opportunities for children in our community to go to ball games at Dietrich Park. So the idea behind the Whiffy Fund is that anyone who's in charge of a youth group, maybe you got a baseball team, maybe you got a Girl Scout troop, maybe you've got a vacation Bible school, whatever your group is, and you would like to provide an opportunity for those kids to experience Tarp Skunks baseball, the Whiffy Fund makes that happen. And the way it works is very simple. So Missy Paterniti, she's in charge of a bunch of people. She calls up Christian, says, I'd like to bring 20 kids to the game. Christian says, no problem, you can come for free. Because of the Whiffy Fund. People like you and me can contribute money at the Community Foundation and get a tax credit. That's important, right, Ben Lindquist? Having a tax credit is a good thing at the end of the year. Christian keeps track of how many complimentary tickets are being passed out during the year, and at the end of the year, he sends a bill to the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. In the meantime, I pass that bill along to Tori Ergang at the Community Foundation. And said, I told her last year, 2,500 kids had a chance to go to a ball game at Dietrich Park. Those kids might not have had a chance to go to a ball game at Dietrich Park if it wasn't for the Whiffy Fund. So then I send the bill up to Tori. Tori passes the money back to the Hall of Fame because we are a 501c3. The Tarp Skunks are not. So the money cannot go directly to the Tarp Skunks. It has to go through the not-for-profit and then to the Tarp Skunks. So 2,500 kids got a chance to go to a ball game last year. We're continuing to solicit funds for the Whiffy Fund. Christian promises that he'll make even more than 2,500 kids happy this summer by having a chance to go to a Tarp Skunks game. If you're looking for a Christmas gift, Jason Sample, for a hard-to-buy person, consider making a donation to the Whiffy Fund at the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation in honor of someone. And then in turn gives kids a chance to experience everything that Tarp Skunks baseball is. So thank you very much. Buy some season tickets from Christian on your way out the door. Stop down at CHQ Plus, down on the corner of 3rd and Cherry, where we have a great selection of Tarp Skunks merch. And get your Christmas taken care of today. Thanks a lot.
We're going to wrap up, but you might have noticed all of this microphones and props starting this upcoming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A Broadway produced It's a Wonderful Life will be here at the Robert Jackson Center. And if you want, there's some information out there and online, but it's high-end stuff. It's a radio play, and they're going to have all the bangs, whistles, Foleys, and stuff that you can have. So, and Ed Tomasini's in the middle of all of that as well. So, without further ado, we look forward to the 5th anniversary of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. We want to thank all of you who are here who made this a reality and an extraordinary year. And if you didn't get a card, be sure you walk out with one. Also, right at the table with Christian is, in fact, the article by Chris Blakesley of the Jamestown Post-Journal on the Whiffy Fund. As Randy articulated so well, but Chris put it into print with some phone numbers and contacts. So with that, we stand adjourned at Dietrich Park. Thank you.